Now, some of you may not be in California, so you don't have the ability to vote to help Ted Lieu be reelected. That's okay, but it still is important that you are aware of Ted Lieu because I think in a lot of ways he sets standards that, quite frankly, should be replicated across this nation. And for those of you who are in the 33rd District of California, this is particularly important for you because you may not know about Ted Lieu, or if you know about him, you may be one of those people with which his support has dropped. And I hope not, because there are some things that are relevant to the times that we are living in, the time of COVID-19, that not just in this current moment, but when you examine his past, I think that it's evident that he is, as they say, the man for the job. Well, speaking to that past, if you even go back to 2014, one of the things that I think is very notable for Ted Lieu as a candidate is that there's actual documentation of him supporting via Project Vote Smart. Vote Smart is a resource that we heavily use as an organization when we do research on candidates, by the way. But per Vote Smart, there is documentation of him supporting federal spending as a means of promoting economic growth. So what that speaks to is the fact that he is a candidate who, again, going back to 2014, has understood that sometimes, not in every case, but sometimes when you need the economy to grow, sometimes there is going to have to be federal action. And so he is a candidate who has not just in recent times kind of had a come to Jesus moment, kind of had an aha moment where he has said, oh, well, I think, for political expediency that now is the time to support federal spending. No, this is a man who for 6 years, again, as documented, the past 6 years, has understood and supported federal spending for economic stimulus. So we can trust in him when he tells us, when he shows us by means of his votes that, hey, I believe that the government is going to have to help the American people get out of this. You don't have to, based on the evidence, you don't have to worry about this politician flip-flopping because he has held this position since 2014, even before COVID-19 was a thing, right? And then even in the more recent past, when you look at when the pandemic first became a pandemic, he quite frankly has understood and communicated that understanding he's understood that COVID-19 has been a grave threat. He has not been a politician who has flip-flopped in saying, in the very beginning, oh, this is, on par with the flu, or this is just a really bad cold. No, he has understood the health implications, the public health threat, the threat to the health of Americans that COVID-19 has been. So already in these two things, guys, we are seeing a politician who is steady and reliable, two things that, quite frankly, you do not see on a regular basis, really at all, with many politicians. He obviously did support the CARES Act. Pretty much every politician, right, did support the CARES Act. But obviously now there's a lot of contention about what they're supporting, right? He does also support, he has gone on the record in supporting the $600 weekly emergency unemployment payments to unemployed individuals, and that's another reason we think that he needs to be reelected. And the main thing for us as an organization in making the determination of where we stood on Ted Lieu, where we currently stand on Ted Lieu as an organization, again, it pretty much boils down to two things. I mean, there are a lot of things you can take from this exceptional candidate, things that, quite frankly, I didn't even mention during this podcast. But two things were of the utmost importance for us. And again, first and foremost was the documentation going back to 2014 that, again, this is a politician who understands and stands by the need that sometimes the federal government is going to have to spend to assist the economy, to spur economic growth. So we can trust that this is something that he believes in principle and not just as a matter of political expediency. time. And then secondly, for us, and the other thing that was previously communicated was the fact that, again, he understood and communicated that COVID-19 was a grave threat. He did not downplay it as we had seen with other politicians. Now, I don't want to act as if some politicians or all politicians downplayed it as a matter of negligence, because that wasn't the case. Because quite frankly, there were politicians, as I think was the case for a significant portion of the American people. There were just, people who just didn't understand, quite frankly, myself included. We just didn't understand the devil we were dealing with, right? So, but this is, again, a politician, again, that understood from the beginning that this was a grave danger to the American people. So, for these reasons, we support Ted Lieu, and we think that those of you who, again, are in who are in Congressional District 33, where Ted Lieu is located, we really think that if you are in the position where, you are one of the people maybe that previously supported him, but that support has decreased with you, or if you just aren't really familiar with him and you are in that district, he is someone that you should pay attention to, especially in these times, especially when you're looking at COVID-19, because he does have a track record, a documented track record of the, at least the understanding, the importance of federal support, federal assistance as a means of spurring economic growth, which again is most needed during this time.